Good day, viewers and listeners. I am your host, Big Law Lawrence Johnson, and welcome to Locked On Virginia Cavaliers podcast, the first place to come to get your Wahoo fix every day as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. This episode of Locked On Virginia is brought to you by Sling TV. Sling has something for everyone, especially when it comes to college football coverage, with a massive lineup of games across the ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12, and SEC. I can always catch the games I want on Sling, and now you can too. Check out Sling TV now to see the massive lineup of games they have all season long. Sling, the TV you love for the price you'll love. Try it today. So yes, everybody, we are back at it. This is the Thursday's episode 11/30, 2022 of Locked On Virginia. And this is the last day of November. How about it? December officially starts tomorrow, and this year has flown by. And I have a full show today, and I'm gonna jump right into it. First, I want to get the news out about the funeral. Today is the last young man we're gonna put to rest for the tragedy at the University of Virginia, Lavelle Davis, who we put to rest in North Charleston, in South Carolina, this afternoon. So we'll have a celebration of life for him, and he'll be laid to rest. So we'll make sure to still keep you guys up to date on everything when it comes to that. But yes, he is being put to rest. So um, I will give you guys all the information you need, and um, as much as I'm talking about it, and it is really at this point. We got to try to get to the healing part. That's where we are. That's where I am. I'm just trying to recover. But this will at least bring some closure to and put these men, all of them finally to rest. And that's kind of where I am with it. But North Charleston, South Carolina, they will lay the young man to rest. And shout out to Robert Kraft again. Just letting I guess they have a bye week this week, and he's letting the team use the New England Patriots official jet or plane to fly around to all the funerals as a team. So shout out to him. Kudos to Robert Kraft and the New England Patriots organization. God bless you guys. Appreciate what you do. So going on, moving to the next topic. Sticking with football, some good news here. Of course, yesterday was Senior Day. They did their own kind of a personal Senior Day between, the parents and the player, the parents and the players and the coaches, just honoring the seniors, who have given everything that they have, to this university, and and I know we had a decent amount of seniors on the program as well. A lot of guys are eligible to leave, and I don't know how many guys are going to stay. Of course, also the transfer portal has opened up, which is another prospect scary for University of Virginia based off of what's going on. I anticipate a pretty good exodus, players leaving University of Virginia just uh, based off a few things, and we'll probably get into some of that information, the closer it gets and, when some things happen. But, based off of how the year went, based off of some of the things that were happening, during the year with, some of the losing and some of the changeover and all that, then of course you throw on something that's unimaginable with a tragedy like this. I can't blame young men for trying to just run away from this situation, just trying to get away and start fresh somewhere else. So I'm hoping that there's not a huge exodus, but I got to be realistic about it, and I'm thinking that it's probably going to be pretty significant. As far as some players that are leaving, we already have a ton of seniors that are uh, actually out of eligibility and are going to leave as well. But what I like to do is give you guys some good news, about the first team, second team, and third team All ACC postseason. How about Anthony Johnson was the lone Wahoo who was the uh, lone, like I said, the lone Wahoo on the first team cornerback. He was second in the ACC. And shout out to him. He's a senior member, grad transfer. Actually came over from Louisville and struggled a little bit last year, but came in this year. This system seemed like it fit him like a glove and had an incredible year. After that, second teams, we had three guys on the second team. About my man Fentrell Cypress Jr., who actually led the ACC in PBUs. So, this defense really played tough, kept this team in a lot of games. But Ventrell Cypress, second team All ACC. Also, second team All ACC is the tackling machine, Mr. Nick Jackson himself. And of course, you're talking about Ventrell Cypress, Nick Jackson. Coaches wanting them guys to come back as well. But Nick Jackson, second team, always up there as far as most tackles in a season. So Nick Jackson is on the second team as well. Then you also have punter Daniel Sparks, who was a transfer in as well, became second team ACC. He's did a hell of a job punting this team out of trouble, all season because the offense just couldn't get going, and he had a tough job, kept punting these guys out of trouble, but great job by Daniel Sparks. He's the second team. We got one third team player, of course. It's Keaton Thompson, the most versatile player on the team on the offensive end. Played 3-4 more positions throughout his career at the University of Virginia. Once he got on the field, and he'll probably have a great professional career as well, based off his size, speed, and everything else. He was 13 All ACC. Was first team, I believe, All ACC preseason. So he kind of held some of that up, where he was an exceptional player. Then we also had a couple of honorable mentions, and I think one of these guys, who Chico Bennett and Aaron Famui, were the honorable mentions. I think Chico Bennett should have been further up there. He was one of the leading sackers in the ACC, and I think they kind of missed the boat on him a little bit. Remember, he was a transfer over from Georgia Tech and got here and did a heck of a job and was the ACC Defensive Lineman of the Week twice. And, but great job by those Wahoos for this year. Most difficult years ever, man, that you could go through. But these guys still did their jobs, prospered, and was elite in the conference. So shout out to all those guys, and for the ones that are eligible to come back, please come back to University of Virginia. Please don't make me get on my knees and beg, but please come back and play for the school. But shout out to them, and shout out to all the seniors as well for all of that they've done for the University of Virginia. BetOnline.net is your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there. From football to soccer and esports, we've got it all at BetOnline. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. Head to the website today to use your mobile device to learn more. Bet online, where the game starts. So yes, everyone, just finishing up with the football, the team, and we will see what happens. Okay, going into the off season, we do have our what you call it coming up as well. Um, recruiting. We got some visits, big visits coming up. We had one person to since I can't blame anyone for that, but we did have one decommit, and we'll keep you guys up to date on who commits and decommits. But we'll see who commits with this busy week, few weeks coming up here. We're talking about players coming in, but let's get to some other great news as well. How about University of Virginia women's team? They play tonight in the other end of the ACC Big Ten Challenge, and they have the Lady Lions of Penn State. Now, the Lady Lions of Penn State are undefeated as well. They are 7-0, and they play, like I said, our Lady Wahoos, who are 8-0. Clash of the Titans. What do they say? Someone's O has to go, and this is it. I'm looking at the way that Coach Mox, who by the way, is the ACC Coach of the Week. Doesn't surprise me there. The first time these Lady Wahoos have been 8-0 in 30 years in the beginning of the season. Uh, they're going to Penn State, playing in Pennsylvania, and this will be a great test for the young ladies as well. Playing on the road, another undefeated team in the Big Ten, who is kind of going through a resurgence like UVA is. Penn State, they didn't win that many games. I think they won like 11 games last year, somewhere in there, 11 or 14 games. And they're coming in, 7-0 undefeated, and continue to climb the ladder. One thing is also cool is the Lady Wild, who's been 8-0 for the first time in almost 15 years. They got some votes for the top 25, which is absolutely great. They're getting some notoriety. It's someone's paying out there is doing, and she's just an absolute stellar coach. And her being the coach of the week is nothing new. I think futuristically, it's not anything that's going to be new. It's going to keep going, going to keep happening. She's going to be the coach of the week a lot more times. But this is her first time getting it. And shout out to Coach Mox and the coaching staff. You also have to, whenever you shout out someone, you got to make sure you shout out the staff as well, because those coaches, it's like Tony Bennett as well. You can't just shout out the coach. They got in order to have a team playing at that level. The coach can't be everywhere at once. You have to have an incredible staff backing you to get the whole team going. And it seems both basketball staffs are great, are stacked players, and keep most of his staff there. Hopefully, Coach Mox can do the same thing and keep her coaches there as well. So, but yeah, the women they play 7 p.m. on the now. This is on the you're gonna have to pay for this if you don't have it. It's on the Big Ten Network. I have DirecTV, so I have the Big Ten Network channel, but it's going to be on the Big Ten Network, 7 p.m. And we'll keep you guys up to date on that. I'll be watching that game, seeing how these young ladies continue to progress. Looking to go 9-0. Looking to go 9-0. And the young ladies doing the thing out there. Cameron Taylor, um, Sam Burnell, Mira McLean, Taylor Valladay, all the ladies doing their thing out there, guys. So this is what we'll do from here. I think that I think I'm gonna have to start doing something for the ladies, as far as like a full blown show for the ladies and only the ladies. Like maybe I'm some kind of DJ, and doing a show just to shout them out, the women in sports at University of Virginia, which have typically they've always been stellar. You really haven't had, I mean, the basketball program has struggled for a little while, but the women's sports at the University of Virginia have always been one of the tops in the ACC in just about anything. And get you guys up to date on some of the things. Think about the women's rowing team, the women's swimming team, the women's diving team. Just great athletes all around. But the women have always done well. The Lady Wahoo, shout out to all the women sports. I watched that commercial where you have women's soccer as well. Can't leave them out. Where you have the W, the ESPN. They have all these different ESPN channels, and they have one called ESPNW or website that you can go and check it out. I think there's just such a growing interest in women's sports nowadays, and it's just about time. Especially with the advent of how women's soccer, they're finally getting equal benefits, equal pay for the national team. Same thing needs to happen for women's sports in other ways as well. So shout out to the women, and we'll keep this thing rolling. Thank you for making Locked On Virginia your first listen today. For your second listen today, check out Locked On Sports Today for the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports. Go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with the local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today, available on this app, YouTube, and wherever you find your podcast. So yes, everybody, let's get to the big show or the big sporting event from the past past day here, and that is the ACC Big Ten Challenge, where you had the men's University of Virginia Cavaliers basketball team go against the Michigan State Wolverines. ACC Big Ten Challenge, the last year for it. Of course, next year it will be the it'll be the ACC going against the SEC. So we'll see how our teams fare playing against the SEC squads starting next year. But UVA pulled off a gritty, and I mean a gritty win, all right, in Ann Arbor with a big-time tough opponent. You're talking Hunter Dixon. You're talking Jet Howard. Had great games against the University of Virginia. Reese Beekman sprains an ankle and loses his offensive explosiveness. Still some great defense, still great anticipation, as you saw there. But the game was everything that you would want as far as a test goes, an early test. Going on the road is always the biggest test that you can give a team. On the road, far enough away where it takes a while to get back, it takes a while to get there, gives you some time to think about it, visualize, kind of picture where you think you want to do in the game. And I was just excited because the way that the team played, we're down by 11 points at halftime. That's right. UVA was down by 11 points. And I said, Coach Bennett last night, I said he is the master of adjustments. Typically, when they go in and they're losing. Came right back out. Defense started to clamp down. Now in the first half, I will give it to Michigan. They were lights out. They were shooting. I want to say they were 50%, still wound up almost 50% from three. But Jet Howard, which is the son of Juwan Howard, was lighting the team up. And it wasn't anything that, that the team was doing so bad. I mean, they could have, ran out to close out on shooters a little better. But he was just shooting everything and making everything. Have you noticed that whenever teams play University of Virginia basketball squad, that they always give us their best shot? It's rare that teams, and I know it's some of that's based off of our pace of play, because we give teams, the opportunity to stick with us because we play so slow. And if somebody gets hot, which it seems like somebody's always getting hot, right? Somebody is making threes, that they usually don't make all the time, or they're a shooter and they get red hot. And it's like, man, but it's like UVA is always going to get every team that they play their best shot because teams want to score on this defense. And Jet Howard was absolutely scoring his butt off as far as shooting wise. Big 6'8" ball handling guard. Um, so, but the real issue was Hunter Dixon, the 7'1" big man for them who just overpowered the team for the most part. He wound up with 23 points, 7 rebounds, and 5 blocks. He was protecting the rim really well, and I can't say anything but good things about that guy. He's a great basketball player, and like I said, gave our guys trouble. Even though we changed the defense of him, he kept our big men in trouble. Our natural centers, Caden Cedric and Papi Cafaro, he kept those guys in foul trouble. But as usual, when we went to the small big man lineup where you got Jaden Gardner at power forward and Bennett Vanderplas at center, that combination gives us a lot of versatility offensively. I said it in a few shows ago. When you put those guys out there, you got both guys can shoot. One can shoot mid-range really well. The other one can shoot long range. They can both score on the block. So it just gives this team a type of versatility that's hard to guard on the offensive end. And they play some really gritty, tough defense on the defensive end with those guys. And you pair that with our guy, Kihei Clark, Reese Bigman, who it's officially his team. I don't hear anybody else say anything else. Reese Bigman has officially taken over this team. And then, of course, you got Amon Franklin also playing defense as well. So, UVA basketball is back. That was a huge win. That was the biggest win since the Duke game last year when Duke was number 7 and they knocked Duke off at Duke, in the middle of the year. So that was one of those kind of games that, you really had to go on the road, play well, or play well enough to win to get back home as well. And this really carried a lot of weight because UVA is up to number 3, the number 3 team in the nation. And if they're number 3, and I don't want them to look forward or look over the game they have next, of course, guess who they play next? They play JMU. Remember, JMU served them a real cold loss last year and really embarrassed University of Virginia, to be honest. And UVA has opportunity to give that cold dish right back to them of revenge back to them. So we'll see how this game plays out. Of course, that game, I'm sorry, they play JMU next week. This Saturday, which is where I'll be there at home, and they play Florida State, and then they got JMU. So Saturday they have Florida State at home, and I'll be there and I live feeds on that as well. But yeah, JMU is next week, but they can serve that back at them. But think about it like this: you got the 5-game stretch I was talking about. You got Michigan, Florida State, JMU, Houston, and Miami. Now think about that, So they got the first leg down. All right. So I'm just going to talk about these games as legs. So we got the first leg down. Now we got the second leg going back home. Kid, they pull it off and be undefeated on the end of this, which is going to set them up nice and pretty going into the conference play come January. But even if they had one loss, maybe 2 losses at the end of this 5-game stretch, maybe we're looking at, I already know this is a special team based off of how they play and how versatile they are. But who's to say, where else they can go? Of course, Houston catapulting. They played one of my local teams, Norfolk State, today, or excuse me, last night as well, and blew them out by 48 or 50 points, whatever it was. And shoot threes. They can score. They can defend. Kevin Sampson, I believe, is the coach. Houston is the number 1 team. I'm kind of showing my age here. I remember when Clyde Drexler and they were just an incredible Phi Slamma Jamma, and they were just a great running team. They put up a lot of points. This team is the same way, where they just got a lot of athletes, can put up a lot of points, and we'll see. Don't want to look too far ahead though, but we'll see how this all shakes out. So yes, man, we are excited about where the team is right now. The boys are officially 6-0, and in that game against Michigan, what balance! They had 5 guys in double figures. Kihei Clark, the little general, who officially can play off the ball now because Reese Beekman has taken over the main ball handling duties. But Kihei also chips in as well. We don't have to totally depend on him to set up the offense and to score. He kind of does both. And Reese Beekman, who is the unquestioned leader of this team, as far as the on-court athletic side of the game, Kihei's more of the general. He sets the mood, and has the experience. So you kind of have 2 really strong leaders up top. So you got Regan had 18 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. I think he had 2 steals, a steal. Jaden Gardner, and that 1 steal he had was the best one he had all game, which pretty much wrapped the game up. Jaden Gardner had 12 points, 11 rebounds, 2 steals and 2 assists and 3 steals. Caden Cedric had 12 points, and Bennett Vanderplas, who came in and kind of changed the whole rhythm of the game for the Wahoos and gave them a big boost off the bench, offensively and defensively, scored 10 points. So you have 5 guys and 10 points. Right now, I think Virginia has 4 guys averaging double figures, and that hardly ever happens. Usually you have a couple guys who score most of the points. You have some guys that kind of fill in, with the UVA, but this is one of the versatile teams I think Tony has had. I was thinking Ryan Dunn would get in there to play against Jet Howard, but he played just a few minutes and he got pulled back out. Isaac Neely didn't play as well, and Tane Murray didn't get in. But Bobby Cafaro did come in, got in some foul trouble, and had to pull him. But Coach Bennett, some of these games these tight games, he really likes to keep his rotation tight. And I don't blame him. The man wins for a reason. And it's just great to see, some happiness going around for the University of Virginia and, University of Virginia sports and just in general, guys. So thank you for making Locked On Virginia your first listen of the day. For your second listen of the day, check out Locked On for the games that matter the most to the biggest stories in sports. Go beyond the scoreboard and behind the scenes with local experts and insights only Locked On can provide. Locked On Sports Today available on this app, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast.